Good morning, folks. I spilled my coffee all over myself upstairs, so I came downstairs. I spill coffee on the couch maybe once every 10 years. It's very seldom. But anyway, aside from that amazing information, I have really good news for you. I'm reading Luke 4 this morning. Yeah, there's a fish on top of my head. I can't help but note the connection between the Pisces. If you haven't figured that out yet, I like symbology. My dad caught that fish. um, I'm reading Luke 4, and it's where Jesus gets tempted by Satan. And I absolutely love reading the Bible. I got to get you guys excited about reading the King James Bible, because once you dive into it, it doesn't really matter who you are or what religion you are. This thing is crafted so you finally do start to understand the these and the thous, or why that's all in there. That's one hint. The other thing is that you're going to discover when you want to pull these words apart and pull the sentences apart, how the word plays and the anagrams and the alphanumeric coincidences heap up really fast, and they continually advise you to look at the sentence in a manner that gets you to explore, gets you to connect dots, gets you to dive deeper and feel the depth of wisdom that's coming from these expressions. And to accelerate us, we have the anagram word player you can find on Google. The anagram word plays. You type in 14 letters, and it gives you 100 different words to look at. And I always find words that help bring light to the meaning of the sentence or the verse, whatever it is. And it just is like, it's like lights come on. It's amazing. So I just want to say lastly that verse 8, Luke chapter 4 verse 8, look at this. Get thee behind me, Satan. I hope my camera's pointed right. Jesus answered and said unto him, Get thee behind me, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. I did the whole anagram word search with those phrases, and I have been convinced over the last several years that when Jesus says, Get thee behind me, he's saying you're kind of a step behind me. You're late. You're late to the party here, sir. And he's being kind of mouthy with the devil, but he's confirming that it's the devil that's trying to tempt him, and that must mean he has some appeal as to why somebody this important and powerful would be bothering him with a temptation in the first place. And where you end up going with this is that it's seriously a reflection of God's initial creation of Adam and Eve, and he says you're in charge of the whole earth. And if you dig into it, you're going to see that there's references to going from a reptile to a mammal. The human the unfolding of our biological transformation, our how we got to be human, over the course of eons, and how we became to be able to think and move and reproduce the way we do. Um, it's he sets him on a pinnacle. He brought him to Jerusalem. He set him on a pinnacle of the temple. The pinnacle of the temple is a height of understanding. It's having the vision to look around and see who you are and what you're doing and what you are in relationship to your surroundings, and realize that every one of us, every human being, has the authority, has the position to make a change based on what we know and based on what we see. It's this process of becoming Christ-like is very, very much scientific. It's very much studious. In this religious context, in the storytelling of Luke, and I'm not saying that Jesus never walked the earth. I know he did. And I'm not saying there's no spiritual impacts. I've felt the spiritual impacts. I've been privy to them on many, many occasions. I've seen and felt astral experiences. So it's in those glorious, holy feelings that you get. Now, I know all that. I've wept over those. Now, whether they're chemicals, impulses that are going on in my mind, if that's one of the outcomes of the presence of spirit, I would argue for that too. One of the things I find in here is that Jesus is having this conversation with the devil is really a quick study on how we become aware of how much God and devil are within us, good and evil, and what our responsibility is to not only capturing and conveying, taking note of, but capturing and conveying the written word, because Jesus said, well, it is written. Our ability, our duty in a position of creator. Did you come down from heaven? If you have the knowledge of God, why don't you cast yourself down? And Jesus says, well, I'm already, it's since I'm cast down, the real question is, where's my house? If I'm God and I'm on the earth, build me a house. It's the house of God is in the human heart. And that's where we're heading as a people, as a human race. This arguing over resources, this stealing from one another, this disease and detriment of kleptocracy, these rich people who are empowering themselves to be gods over the rest of us, are absolutely going to have the shocker coming. Because the people of earth, when they start to realize that they are gods, they're going to say, well, how come you and not me? And that's pretty much what Jesus says to the devil, get behind me. And if everybody's getting behind the other, ultimately, where are we headed? Peace. If we're all getting behind each other and sharing our knowledge and setting ourselves up on the temple so you can see, look out and say, I'll give it all to you if you just fall down and worship me. Worship who? Love your neighbor. Look around you. Feed my lambs. Anagram for lamb is blame. Take responsibility. Dave, you're a nuthead. No, I'm a fish head. See? See the fish? That's the Pisces sign. That means I see things from both sides. I'm like a walking, talking Taoist. Love you guys. Look, I'm going to continue. I got really upset last night and I posted a video and I'm going to leave it there. And I actually have a couple of my friends who do encourage me, so that's not as grievous as I made it sound last night. But I'm continuing this journey, and you are going to follow me. You're going to get behind me because you're going to point to me and say, well, you get behind me, Dave. And I'll say, right on, brother. Right on, sister. That's the idea. Take care of each other. You know, I'm sorry. The longer Putin and little Ronnie Waheed go on their... And Donald Trump is digging his own grave, so he's oh God, he's the evidence of what we're not supposed to behave like. Okay, you get that. But these other guys who are holding out, these oligarchs, this asshole that floated on a pontoon boat in a lake that's 20 miles from here and told me his oligarchs were going to bring shame to the people because our leaders don't know how to control the people. That is the most backward and ridiculous and short-sighted and threatening conversation I've ever heard. He told me that he was basically here, you know, on my Memorial. Was it Memorial Day? Or was it Labor Day? I can't remember. It was a nice, beautiful day. But he said the oligarchs were going to basically teach my country, us, that's, you know, the United States, the people of the country, they were going to teach us that our leaders didn't know how to control us. Boy, what does that mean? You're going to bring your stupid, dark ways where people aren't free anymore, and you're going to control us like slaves? Anyway, I'm rambling. You guys get the idea. If you will take the time to listen to what I'm saying, watch my videos, you know, quit thinking that life is like a dashboard and everything's going to come from the touch of your finger. It's not. You're going to have to suffer through blah, blah, blah if you want to love your neighbor. You're going to have to put up with them. You know, this whole doctrine that was very heavy and in the churches about putting up boundaries and making, you know, avoiding people that aren't serving your best interests. Yeah, that's what Jesus did, right? No. Jesus went right the opposite way, and he helped all the people who weren't serving his best interest. He helped them with knowledge. And if you want to help somebody with knowledge, you're going to have to teach them. And conversely, if you want to learn knowledge, you have to put up with people that maybe you don't like the way they look, like me, or that have a fish over the top of their heads. Get over it. All right, that's enough rambling. Thank you.